So what was the start? When did you start getting involved in the underworld, and what was the impetus for it? What was the lure?
So it all started when I was probably in my early 20s. So the guys would say to me, "There's 10 of us going out tonight. We want X, Y, and Z. Whatever that floated the boat. Cigarettes, vapes, whatever it was. Obviously, it was Class A back then."
Yeah.
So I said, "Right, give me a list. I know a guy that knows a guy that knows a guy. One of them." So they'd say, "Right, get me 3 of these, 5 of these, 10 of these. No problem." Yeah. So I'd run off, biggest guy in the gym. "Right, matey boy, give me this. There's 1,500 quid there. Jobs are good and got a little bit myself. There's loads of us going out. His mate wants some stuff and his mate wants some stuff." So I'd probably earn 500 quid off this list, right? Mm-hmm. That was every week, and I was only in my early 20s. So that was a week's wage for most men back then, including myself. So then where it really stemmed, where the light bulb moment or the switch really clicked was when I stopped going out. I had a house, I had a missus that we didn't go out. We were having pizza on a Friday, Saturday night, but the orders were coming in. And that's really where I thought to myself, well, if I'm not going out, I'm not blowing 300-400 quid, I'm not taking all of this stuff. So my profits were kind of doubled. And then what it was is then their mates were saying, well, if he's getting that, well, I want the bulk and I want this. And then 100 of this turned into this and half a kilo of this turned into this. And before you know it, I was looking after the guys that was used to look after the guys. And yeah, I won't say cornered the market, but York's quite a small place. And yeah, we had somewhat of a monopoly on it. And, you know, my people and new people were obviously in the same cities and whatnot. And you end up going out with them on a Friday, Saturday night, taking your girlfriend as opposed to staying into a nightclub at 3-4 in the morning. You go for a dinner with somebody and the stakes sort of, or the ladder you was climbing the rung of, even though I didn't really see it like that and I was never better than anybody. That's when it started being a business more than, social supply, which I never got done for social supply because it was only ever friends of friends, even sort of 10 years on, without dropping my finger in it or dropping my foot in it. Yeah, that was it really. When I started treating it as a business, and then the numbers were making numbers.
So what sort of jump? I mean, if you're talking about you're treating it as a business, like if you're doing it sort of casually and you're clearing a week's wage at 500 quid, I mean, what was the sort of jump that you were looking at?
I'd like to say 10 grand a day and all this, but I'm not going to lie. It was never about that. I'd probably say 2.5 to 3 every week. 10 grand a month.
That's profit.
Yeah, 100% profit.
And how are you managing? How are you managing you're obviously knowing that you're doing something that could get you caught and that there's some repercussions from it. How are you dealing with those emotions? Did they cross your mind? Is it something you thought about? Were you like, was it the risk reward, or were you sort of naive to think, well, I won't get caught? I mean, that's a classic one. Where were you at on that scale?
Yeah, I believed that I was super smart. So if I had X amount of surplus cash, I'd go to one of my friends that had a car dealership, buy a car for 10 grand, sell it for 9,500, put the money in the bank, or maybe sell the car for 10,500 and make £500. So I was kind of one step ahead in terms of I'm not going to get caught, not blasé, but if I've done a transaction and the narcotics have gone and the cash has gone, then on to the next one.
And was it purely was it a case of initially you'd started off like you weren't holding stuff particularly long? You're picking it up, you're dropping it off, you're collecting the cash, and then you're putting that cash somewhere else. Like, was that where it stayed, or did it start to escalate?
No, I think I was always very well aware that I was either a good middleman or a good connection or a trustworthy guy or something in between. I don't think it ever got to the stage where I had 20,000 here and 50,000 here, and I've got 10 Rolexes. I was never that sort of character. Whilst the guys that I knew and worked with, and so on and so forth, and over to Dubai and well up the ladder, you know, the real wealth came from when I came out of jail and kind of dipped my toe in the water ever so slightly in terms of the monetary side of things. That's when things really, when I was in jail, I really understood where I was, which was medium sort of level. To the guys that was importing it, working with Colombians over in Amsterdam, over in Belgium, and you know, you're not far off. I'm not saying in terms of wealth, but you're not far off knowing a guy that knows a guy that is making, you know, hundreds of millions every other day.